Hello and welcome to Flippin Awesome. I'm Mindy, XYZ, your factotum expert, with my detailed videos on how to save time, money, the environment, and many other things. You'll easily become an expert too, to where you'll amaze your family and friends with your newfound capabilities. Today I am in my kitchen and I'm gonna start doing a remodel of the kitchen on a budget. So anyways, I'm gonna start off with this cabinet that I picked up at a garage sale. Picked it up for $50 and I just love it. It'll give me extra storage space. And the countertops, I don't know if you've noticed in my other videos when I've been in the kitchen, they're this like limey greenish color. And I'm in Florida, so it will actually work. So I'm gonna keep those, that'll save money. They're all laminate. The cabinet door faces are laminate also, along with the drawers. So I'm just gonna keep those. So what I decided to do to make everything match is to paint this that limey green also. Now I went to Lowe's and I grabbed like 10 million green paint chip things that they have so I can try to match up the color. That was a waste of time because none of them matched. So I ended up coming back home. I grabbed a drawer and brought it back and they were able to match up the color for me. So I'm all excited. I can't wait to get this painted and get my kitchen started. So here's some of the things that I'm going to be using for this cabinet. I'm going to use this Guardsman Deep Clean. It's a foam cleaner, and you want to clean your cabinet first to make sure you get all the grease off of it if there's any grease, and make sure it's clean. Then I'm going to go ahead and use a wood filler and fill in any chips that are in this. And there's an area down here that has like, I don't know, like a dog chewed it or something. I don't know. So I'm going to go ahead and try and fill that in. I am going to use 150 grit sandpaper to give it a light sanding and to also sand down where I apply the wood filler. Now, I would recommend anywhere from like 120 grit to 150 grit. That should work pretty good. And then what I'm going to also use is I'm going to use a little foam roller. It's for cabinets, doors, and more. Now I've used rollers like this in the past for kitchen cabinets, and they work pretty good. So I'm going to stick with what works. The paint I'm going to use is when I get to that point, is I'm using Valspar stain blocking and bonding, so that'll prevent any bleed throughs before I put my actual paint on. Even if you get paint that has primer in it, you'll still get a bleed through. So it's highly recommended that you put this type of a coat on first and then go ahead and paint. So that's my plan of attack. And so yeah, so let's go ahead and get started. I am going to clean first and then take the hardware off. Okay, next is to remove the hardware. And what I like to do is, so I don't lose anything, is I'll throw them into some type of a container. Okay, I ran into a little bit of an issue here. The bottom hinges are pretty rusted, and you can see here that you really can't see where the Phillips head drill bit will fit in there. So it's pretty much rusted over. I tried something and it worked, so I will show you here. Okay, using some type of a punch, and here I got like a little screwdriver and also a little flathead screwdriver. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to start chiseling away at the the very center. Flathead screwdriver here where I can barely see. You can see where I got the indentation now. So let's. Okay, I ran into another little problem. I stripped out the head of one of the screws when I was trying to remove it. So I did try the rubber band trick, and what that is, if you're not familiar, is you just place a rubber band over the screw and you try to drill it out that way. A lot of times that'll work, sometimes it doesn't, and in this case it didn't, and I think it's because it's so rusted in there. So I ran to the store real quick and I got this, and let's see if it works. It's supposed to get the screws out in 10 seconds or less. So let's give it a shot. Got it. Looks like it broke off though. Okay, I'm going to give a review on that speed out kit. 2 thumbs down. So I went back to the store and now I'm going to try this one and I'll let you know how this one works. Really? Fortunately, I do have drill bits of my own for metal. So let's go ahead and give that a shot. Okay. What I ended up doing is I took the door off and I just wiggled the hinge and I used my, let's see here. I used my drill with just the Phillips head bit on it. And I put a lot of pressure on it, and I was able to get it out part way. So the rest of the way, I am just going to use my vice grips, clamp onto it, and just, unscrew it the rest of the way off. There we go. Whew, that was a toughie. Now that I have the hardware off, and it was hard getting that hardware off, but anyways, got it off, got the doors off. Now I'm going to go ahead and use my wood filler and fill in all of the scratches and gouges and nicks and whatnot, and I'll apply that with my little spatula. Now you want to have a spatula that's not super stiff. You want to be able to, should be able to bend a little bit when you're applying. So that's pretty easy to do. So what I'm going to do is just squeeze some on here. Call that good. And now dry times will vary depending on how deep your gouges are. And this particular product, it says that on average 2 hours, and it could take up to 6 hours or longer depending on how big your gouges are. Okay, welcome back. It's the next day and our patch is dry. So now I'm going to sand the patch down and also give everything that I'm going to paint a light scuff. I got 150 grit sandpaper that I'll be using. You can either sand everything by hand, like this, throughout the whole thing. Or you can get a block of wood and you can wrap your sandpaper around the wood, and this will make it easier on your hands. And you can just sand that way. Or, ta-da! The Orbital Palm Sander, my ultimate favorite. It is sanded. Woohoo! So at this point, what I'm going to do is I am going to get my vacuum cleaner here and suck up as much dust as possible. And then I'm going to get a damp cloth and go over everything to get the final dust off. And then we can go ahead and start priming. So let's do it. Wipe it down with a damp rag. And you want to rinse your rag out often. When it comes to the orbital sander, I don't recommend doing that in your house. Sawdust will go everywhere in your home. The reason why I did it in my home is because I am in Florida, middle of summer. It's towards the end of August right now, and it is really, really, really hot out there. And I don't have an air-conditioned shop to work in. So, hey, I look at it this way. I needed to do a deep clean in the house anyway. So, all right. So let's go ahead and wipe down our cabinet, whatever you want to call it. Oh, also, after you're done wiping it down, you probably want to let it dry, for anywhere from like an hour to 2 hours, depending on how wet you got it. So, yeah. Okay, see you in a little bit. All right, I think we're ready to prime. So, again, I'll be using the Valspar stain blocking bonding primer. I have my little paint tray. You'll also want to have a chip brush. Okay, so let's get started. I'm gonna open up the can, give it a stir, and let's get her done. I also set the cabinet up on 4 different cans so that the cabinet is off the floor, and it will make painting the bottom edges a lot easier, and it won't puddle up on you. Okay, I got the inside painted. If you happen to have an inset, like how I have this inset here, this is how I like to paint my insets. With the rims. There we go. And then have your roller handy. And go ahead and smooth out those brush lines. Now, if you get any on the outside here, on this part of the wood, you can see it's kind of like globbish. You want to make sure you either brush that out right away or roll it right away. And I prefer rolling, because I like to roll. talking about globby paint, you want to make sure that when you're rolling on the side like that, you can see the paint. So I like to have a paper towel handy. And just wipe that down, otherwise you'll have a roll on the front of your cabinet there, and that will not be very attractive. Hello and welcome back. So in the meantime, all right, I just got 2 coats of the primer on my little brass cabinet hardware, and I'm waiting for that to cure a little bit. In order to find out if your brass is the real deal, get a magnet, and here's one of my pieces of the hardware. Now if the magnet does not stick, odds are it's solid brass. You get vinegar, and you want to cover your brass items and bring it to a boil. And once it's done boiling, we're going to get some steel wool, and you want the really fine stuff. It's the quadruple 0. So it's the fine. It's 4 zeros. Okay, it's coming to a boil right now, so I'm going to turn this off. Got the steel wool. Okay, here's all my polished hardware. Now the screws, I was going to play with those, but comes to find out they are not brass. And now they don't want to pick up. Here we go. As you can see, they're being picked up by the magnet. So, I mean, I tried to clean them up a little bit, but I'm like, I think I'm just going to go to the store and pick up some real brass screws to go with the brass hardware. So, in the meantime, let's go ahead and paint our cabinet. Okay, here's another good tip. If you're going to be painting the inside of your cabinet and you're painting both sides of your cabinet doors, you're better off painting the back side of your door first. And the reason being is if it's not totally cured, when you go to flip it over to paint the front, you know, it may get scuffed a little bit, but it's going to be on the inside, so it's not going to be that big of a deal, you know. So yeah, you know, always paint the front of your doors last. So that's my tip. There you go. So I'm going to paint the back first. I like to have some paper towel, and anything that is on the underside, I'll wipe the underside just to make sure. So you can see there's some paint that went onto the front, and you don't want that on the front just yet. And then just take another look around, make sure there's no extras on the corners, and that'll give it almost like an airbrush look almost, as long as you keep it thin and don't have all these runs and goofy stuff going on. And if your paint will allow, do a full length rolls. There we go. And then just kind of check your sides here, make sure you didn't roll. See right there, I rolled a little extra off on the side. There we go. And that's how I would paint the inside of the doors. And I'm going to go ahead and paint the rest of my cabinet. I went to the store to buy some brass screws to replace the corroded ones, and the brass screws that they had for the size that I needed, and the size I needed is 8 by 3/4 inch. They did not have it in bulk like these are. They only had that size in brass in the little plastic bags where you get like 3 to 4 in a bag. It was like $1.20 something or other per bag. And I was gonna need, how many bags was I gonna need? I was gonna need, oh shoot, I think it was somewhere around 17 or 18 bags. And I wasn't ready to spend 20 bucks plus on screws. So I decided just to get just the regular metal screws along with some gold paint. And I'm just gonna hit the tops of these and call it good. This was only like, it was under $6 for this whole box, and there's 100 of them in here. So I'll have extra screws for another project, and it's not gonna take much paint. So I'll have a lot of extra paint for another project too. Which projects, I don't know, but I'm always doing something. So I'm sure I'll figure something out. I have some styrofoam here, just from a packing styrofoam from whatever I ordered in the past. So I'm gonna go ahead and throw these screws on the styrofoam and hit it with some paint. Hello, it's another day, and today I'm so excited because now we're gonna go ahead and I forgot to mention this at the beginning of the video, but we will be using a polyacrylic protective finish to put on top of our paint, and that's just gonna help it from being scratched and chipped and stuff like that. So we're gonna go ahead and apply, I'm just gonna use one coat of this, and I will be applying it with this with a chip brush, and it's a fine brush by Valspar. I think that's how you pronounce it. And but anyways, it's good for, this type of brush is good for stains or clear coatings. And the reason why it's so nice is it's soft. It's nice and soft, so it should give a nice smooth finish. So let's go ahead and apply that, and then we can put our doors and hardware back on after a couple hours. Now this product is pretty watery, so when you're applying it, always look for drips, and go around your project and check often so you can remove any drips that may happen. And I'll show you what I'm talking about here in a second. Now the drips will usually happen on outside corners or inside corners is where they usually happen. All right, I kind of over exaggerated here a little bit, but you can see where it's kind of dripping on the inside corners. So with a fairly dry paintbrush before you dip again, just kind of remove that. Time to put the doors and hardware back on. Okay, it's done. I'm loving it. It looks great. It definitely matches my countertops, and it looks very professional. I actually impressed myself on this one. I did run into one other little issue. One of the screws that broke off, the drill, or the metal part of the screw that was still left in the wood, I could not get that out for the life of me. I tried to drill it out with a steel drill bit, and I don't know if that thing was made out of titanium or what, but I could not get it out. So I did a second best thing. I got my bolt cutters out and I cut off the head of one of my screws, my new screws, and I just glued it into place. Now it's definitely a factotum thing to do, you know, and so anyways, you can't tell, which is awesome. So, ta-da! I'm so excited. If you liked today's video, I would highly appreciate it if you like, share, and subscribe. If you learned something on here, again, I would appreciate it if you would like, share, and subscribe. It'll help me to continue making these videos. And if there's anything that you want to see in the future, let me know and I'll see what I can do. And in the meantime, you guys have an awesome, fabulous day.